Cheers. I don't really have an awful lot to say this week. Surprise, surprise, I know. Massively run down. So, got a new job. Went to work last week, the week before. 2 weeks ago, a person at work there seemed to be very unwell, bless her. And, as things went on, long story short, she's passed it to everybody. She's passed it on to everybody. They had 3 days off the other week. This week, no one's really been in. I've sort of had it, got it, whatever you want to say about it. It's tough. It's tough. It could be the thing that doesn't exist anymore. The thing that brought the world to a standstill. But over here in the UK, you don't do anything about it anymore. You used to have to do tests and all this sort of stuff and isolate and whatever else. Now it's just like it doesn't exist. So you just carry on regardless, which it is what it is. Take that as you will, I guess. So that's the situation there. But luckily for me, today is a Wednesday. And because my employer is so flexible, Wednesday is usually the day that I have my counselling session. Then I go to work after counselling. But then today I was just like, I'm not going to be in work for very long. I'll be in work for 2 hours at most today. So I just got hold of him and was like, look, these 2 hours, I'm just going to butt them off and just suffer at home. So, here we are, basically. I will say, I got my first pay check, if you like, and it's way out. Like, way out. It's so far out, it's just a bit crazy. So I'm going to have to sort that out. When I say it's out, I've been paid for 36 hours, but I have worked 68 hours. So there's 32 hours that I am missing. I'm missing nearly as many hours as I've been paid for. It is what it is. I'm in a fortunate enough position where, I don't need the money like ASAP Rocky kind of thing. But obviously it's a situation that needs addressing. That's quite a big chunk of money to be missing. So I'll have to sort that out. Not a big problem. I will say I was speaking to my dad yesterday, and he was asking me about how I'm finding work and do I like it and stuff like this. And I must say that the two bosses at work, they seem very like happy or almost like really grateful that I have the skills that I have. And I don't really know what that means. I genuinely don't. I was speaking to one of them yesterday, and he says like, you have a real unique skill set that is very vital for us here. So they want to keep hold of it for as long as they can, which, I'm grateful for because I'd like a job as long as I can. But I noticed my dad was getting quite emotional. He's getting a bit older now, as you can imagine, and he seems to be quite emotional when things are positive for people that he cares about. And I was saying that to him, saying it's okay to feel that way. And we were just sort of talking about work, and it's like, he's proud that I've got this weird, unique skill set that has enabled me to get into a job as soon as it did. But I was talking to him, I was like, Dad, I think a lot of it is attitude. Like, genuinely, I do think a lot of it is attitude. Because these guys have come to me with a lot of problems. And there's a lot of problems that are like, honestly, I've no idea how I'm going to fix them, or I've got no idea how we're going to approach them. But we'll sit down and we'll talk about stuff and we'll just go through it. And when I say about attitude, what I mean is they'll come up with a problem. They're like, this is the issue that we've got. What can we do about it? And instead of going, I don't know, I don't think there's anything we can do. Like, instead of putting out a negative front, it's just like, all right, let's sit down, let's see what we've got, come up with ideas. We'll be able to sort something. And just having that kind of positive approach to things, I feel genuinely is the difference between maybe somebody almost thinking that you're employable versus not wanting you to work there kind of thing. I don't know if that sounds right or what, but every problem that they've come to, it's like, yeah, it's not a problem. Can you just do this for us? Yeah, it's not a problem. Now, I won't lie, most of the stuff isn't. Most of the stuff's really pretty straightforward, or at least as far as I'm concerned, it seems straightforward. And the other stuff that is going to be a little bit more interesting and trying to find solutions for stuff, it is what it is, you know. There's no point in getting kind of bent out of shape about it. And I suppose that again is, I've got to keep being real and acknowledging the fortunate position that I'm in, because, like I say, these guys are ridiculously flexible. So far, they haven't come up with a problem that's needed an immediate solution. We're able to work over things, spitball ideas, and just kind of approach different angles and stuff and take time to work at something and find a solution. So that's obviously a great thing for me. If it was the other way around, it was like, we need this solution, we need it like now, right now. It's like, okay, is the stress going to be piled on? I don't know. I don't think so, because of the atmosphere around that whole workplace anyway. It feels very relaxed and casual, that it's not too dismissive in that if a problem arises, it's not important, but it's a case of, okay, so we've got this real high pressure problem. Solve it with a relaxed mind. Solve it with peace and calm and tranquility, and get to the solution as quick as you can, rather than piling all the stress. And I did say I was trying to approach 2024 a little bit more kind of on the level. I don't want to say positive, because I don't want it to sound too much. Does that make sense? I don't want it to be like, 2024 is great and happy, yay. I don't want it to be like that. But at the same time, I want to acknowledge that that is more the direction of things. I feel there's a general feeling of, you see it a lot at the minute. It's like life's really short, like really, really short. And if you make easy choices, you end up having a hard life. And if you make hard choices, rumour has it, you end up having an easier life. It's all about like the decision you make now and where it puts you in the future. And I think it's really easy when things start to pile up to feel overwhelmed. And it's really, really hard to find a way out of things. And I think I speak from a position that's very fortunate. Like I've always said, like, I still live with my folks, but I do still have a roof over my head, you know. I am at the age that I am, and it sucks because I don't have my own family and my own things like this, but there is a positive side to that in some respects, in that it doesn't come with the bills and the burden that it does come with. So I am fortunate in that position, in that maybe that helps my outlook, in the respect that we hit situations that can really, really rock us. Just look over my last videos, sort of a 2023. There are things that can really, really rock your brain and really put you in a downward spiral and really, really hurt. And it's really, really tricky to see anything positive or any form of motivation or driving factor to drag yourself through that. But this happened to me a couple of times, in that when I hit a real low point, like a really, really rock bottom, you know, all stuff just seems like it's not going to get any better, and yet you are thinking some of the worst things you can think. There's a tiny little part of me that has this little buzz of excitement, that it's like, when stuff hurts this much, when you're down bad this much, is when you're most alive. It's like when you're living as close to the edge as you can live without falling off the edge. That's when you know you're alive. And maybe it's a British thing, maybe it's a me thing, I don't know, but you kind of feel that when you're in situations that it doesn't feel like anything else can go wrong, and something else then goes wrong, it starts to become a point where the stress, the pain, whatever else, is still there, but it just becomes laughable. Do you know what I mean? And I suppose it's like maybe the Joker kind of laughable in that it's a little bit of an insanity thing, in that, oh look, there's more pressure, and all you can do is laugh at it, because what else can you do? Because you'll crumble. I don't know, but I think it's that I've kind of used more often than not to keep me going. But in a weird circle, it kind of brings you back around to once you start laughing about stuff and just, accepting that certain things are what they are. Now, that's not to say that you accept life as this is life, there's nothing I can do about it. I don't believe that that's true. I think there's quite a lot of things that we can do as individuals to encourage a path or encourage something through our own life. But what I'm saying is sometimes events happen to us that we literally have no control over, but we just have to deal with the event, deal with the circumstances. And those things are not always easy to deal with. Don't get me wrong, they're not always easy or simple to deal with. But it's like the fact of the matter is it happens and you have to deal with it. And once you realize that, and I suppose it's a lot like a lot of things in life, stop putting off dealing with it and just deal with it, things do become a little bit more manageable, perhaps. I don't know. So that's what I'm saying about, I know it's a bit of a tedious tangent, but saying about a positive attitude, or a more positive attitude, in that problems have solutions. They do. Finding those solutions can be tricky, and getting to them in the time scale that you want to get to them can also be really tricky. But problems have solutions. And you can work to find those solutions one way or another. But being beaten down by those things, speaking from experience, doesn't really help you solve them, surprisingly. Who would have known, eh? But that's not to say that having a smile on your face and saying everything's great whilst you're getting kicked in the teeth is going to work either, It's about understanding, I think, and knowing that there's almost like a time and a place to feel not negativity, but a little bit more stressed out, maybe a little bit more overworked, a little bit more exhausted. And then you just got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off and go, okay, I will find solutions. I will make a plan. And just go down that road. I think it's what's really helped me on the little things. Don't get me wrong, there's still a bigger picture that it still needs a lot of work. But on the little things, on the here and now, it's the realising where you are, sorting out the plan and doing something about it. Like, for me, I have had the most reduction in stress was when I knew for sure that I did not have a job to go back to. Because that was like that realisation of, I know what I have to do now. And in a strange way, things became my choice. And I think that's the important thing, is whatever you do has to be your choice. You have to sort of come up with the plan. You have to come up with the solution, because only you know what feels right for you. People can suggest all sorts of stuff. People can suggest you do and try all sorts of everything. But in the end of the day, if what they suggest doesn't sit right with you, but you do it anyway, you still aren't going to feel great, even if it works. I genuinely feel that a lot of stuff everything has to come from within. It really, really does. So much for not really having much to say. But yeah, it was just an interesting feeling, I like this new job. It's very strange. I wish I could show you what we make, but I can't. But I can tell you how I can tell you I make toys for adults. I will leave it at that, and it probably is exactly what you think it is. But it is an extremely fun job. Who knew that having skills so wild that I picked up along various different jobs would walk me straight into a job doing that.